Day 2 of the 2023 NFL Draft is officially here, and what a night it was for Howie Roseman, this organization and this front office on night 1 in the first round of the draft. Excellent value picks for Philadelphia, somehow getting Jalen Carter at 9th overall after the Seattle Seahawks passed up on him. All you had to do was trade a 2024 4th-round pick to move up 1 pick to get arguably the best and most dominant player in this draft class, and then we kept waiting for Nolan Smith to go off the board. You're waiting and waiting to see if one of the teams prior to the Eagles picking at number 30 was going to take one of the most athletic edge rushers in this draft class, a guy who's an absolute freak at his size of nearly 240 pounds, who ran a 4.4 40-yard dash, and the Philadelphia Eagles get another Georgia Bulldog. What a draft process it's been for Philadelphia the last 2 years, because Georgia has had 2 of the best college defenses in the history of college football, a program that's won back-to-back championships, and in taking Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean last year and Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith this year, you're getting marquee players from 2 of the top college defenses that we have ever seen, and they figure to be big building blocks for this organization. Jordan Davis probably going to start at defensive tackle. Nakobe Dean's going to start at linebacker. And Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith going to have pivotal roles for this football team that has Super Bowl aspirations coming up here in 2023. Coming up on today's show, because it is day 2 of the NFL Draft, going to do an Eagles 2nd and 3rd round mock draft, but also take a look at the best players available at all positions on the board for Howie Roseman and company. But first, since our live show last night was so successful, and if you missed our content last night, talked about the Jalen Carter pick, broke down the Nolan Smith selection, then did some draft grades, go back and watch it in our live show. To everybody out there who tuned in, it was a blast, it was successful, and that's why the bosses are letting us run it back once again. We'll be live for the 2nd and 3rd round tonight. Our coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, a half hour before the draft begins. Super Chat giveaways, the drinks will be flowing, and of course the draft analysis will be on point as well. Before we begin and dive in though, today's show is presented by Roan. Their commuter collection will have you looking as fresh as Jalen Carter was on night 1 of the draft. And I'm wearing their commuter shirt right now. Men's closets were due for a radical reinvention. Roan stepped up to the plate, and they knocked it out of the park like Bryce Harper in the playoffs last year. Their commuter collection, the most comfortable, breathable, flexible set of products known to man, and there's a couple of reasons why. They have products for every occasion, and Roan helps you get ready for whatever life throws your way. Hosting shows here at Chat Sports, a night out on the town, date night, 18 holes of golf. And with the commuter collection, you get the world's most comfortable pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, and polos. You never have to worry about what to wear when you have the Roan commuter collection. Looking good is easy, and it's time to feel confident without the hassle, right? It shouldn't be hard to look fresh. With Roan's wrinkle release technology, wrinkles disappear as you wear these products, and you can forget about dry cleaning costs, which will save you money over time. So it's roan.com/chatsports. Promo code ChatSports to save 20% off your order. I absolutely have fallen in love with their products. Trizzy Trace says the same. RHONE.com/chatsports. Promo code ChatSports. We'll put that link in the comment section and in the description of this video. So you thought that night 1 was really exciting for the Philadelphia Eagles. Day 2 and night 2 gonna be exciting as well. Why is that? Well, the Eagles were able to move up about 30 picks in the draft because of tampering charges levied upon the Arizona Cardinals. The Eagles and Cardinals settled these tampering charges for Arizona's hiring practices of Jonathan Gannon. They reached out to him illegally following the Eagles' NFC Championship game win against the San Francisco 49ers. So because of that, these 2 teams swapping picks in the 3rd round, and now Philadelphia has a pick at the end of the 2nd round and early in the 3rd round where they can get another marquee player. Here's the Eagles' statement here about this situation. The Arizona Cardinals and Philadelphia Eagles have agreed on the settlement of an issue concerning an instance of impermissible contact by Arizona during its head coaching search this past January. The Cardinals self-reported to the National Football League that general manager Monty Ozenfort had a phone conversation with then Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon in the days after the NFC Championship game, a period during which contact is not permitted under the league's anti-tampering policy. To resolve the matter between the two clubs, the Cardinals and Eagles have agreed to swap third-round picks in the 2023 NFL Draft, and the Cardinals receive Philadelphia's fifth-round selection in 2024. So now today, the Eagles will be picking at 62 in the second round and at 66 in the third round. So last night, a win for this fan base for a couple of reasons. One last opportunity to diss Jonathan Gannon. Can you imagine tampering to hire Jonathan Gannon? And the Birds got Jalen Carter as well as Nolan Smith. Now let's take a look at the top players available here heading into the second day of the NFL Draft. One of my favorite players in this draft class is Joey Porter Jr. I highly doubt he falls to the Eagles. With the Pittsburgh Steelers kicking things off at pick number 32 in the second round, look for Pittsburgh to maybe draft JPJ, his father, Joey Porter Sr., longtime linebacker with Pittsburgh. A couple of other good cornerbacks here on the board. Clark Phillips is an option out of Utah. I would really like Cam Smith as a value play for Philly. A lot of people thought that he was going to go in the first round. And then DJ Turner, the cornerback out of Michigan. There are also some safeties at the Eagles' disposal here. And a couple of these players could be of interest for Philly. Brian Branch is a player who I wouldn't have minded at pick number 30, but the value of Nolan Smith was way too good to pass up on. He's probably going to be off the board unless the Eagles trade up, but Antonio Johnson, Quan Martin, Jair Brown, and Sidney Brown, very good safeties who could be on the board when the Eagles are on the clock. Top offensive tackles available. It was rumored that maybe the Eagles were going to move up to take Paris Johnson. They only move up to number 9 to take Jalen Carter, but it's a foundational element for this club, and they could look to get a future left tackle and or right tackle who might be able to play guard over the next couple of years. DeJuan Jones out of Ohio State, Matthew Bergeron, very good player out of Syracuse, Tyler Steen, I like him a lot, out of Alabama if the Eagles want to tap into that SEC power well, and then Nick Saldiveri out of Old Dominion. Top interior offensive linemen available here. Osiris Torrance out of Florida, Steve Avila for a TCU team that made that surprise run all the way to the national championship game before losing to the Georgia Bulldogs, John Michael Schmitz out of Minnesota, and then Cody Malk, the offensive guard out of North Dakota State, who has some terrific hair. To the top wide receivers available, we've long talked about the fact that the Eagles could look to upgrade wide receiver 3. Could they go with one of these players here? On our board here at Chat Sports, top wideouts available, Josh Downs, Jalen Hyatt, who some people had mocked to the Eagles at number 30, Tyler Scott, Cedric Tillman. Top defensive lineman available. I don't know if the Eagles go back here, but shoot, if they're looking to once again beef up the interior or this defensive front, they could go with a couple of players here, and that would be certainly interesting, but I do not think Philadelphia goes back to that well. I do think that the Birds here on day 2 could draft their running back. You missed out on Bijan Robinson. He was taken number 8 by the Atlanta Falcons. You missed out on Jahmyr Gibbs, who surprisingly was taken 12th overall by the Detroit Lions. And now for the running backs in this draft, you had 2 backs taken in the top 12, no wide receivers taken during that span. That's wild. Top running backs available, Devon Achane, I really like him. We'll spend some more time talking about him. Zach Charbonnet, wonderful production at UCLA. Tank Bigsby, and then Tajay Spears, a couple of really good backs who the Eagles could take with either their second round pick or their third round pick. Before we get to my mock here, heading into day 2, who do you want the Eagles to draft? Drop me a name or names down below in the comment section because Philadelphia, a couple of picks at their disposal. So my Eagles mock draft here. Devon Achane is my pick at number 62. The Eagles really need to address that running back spot. I like Kenneth Gainwell. If Rashad Penny can stay healthy, he can be a really good player. You have Boston Scott. Trey Sermon, we'll see what happens with him. He's certainly not lived up to expectations since being drafted in the 3rd round by San Francisco only 2 years ago, already on his 2nd team. None of those players are the caliber of Devon Achane. Had an opportunity to watch him live against Arkansas last year. He really popped. And then at pick number 66, I'm going Nathaniel Dell, also known as Tank Dell, the leading receiver in college football last year. Let's take a look at some of the scouting reports and info behind some of these players. Devon Achane, extraordinary speed, fastest running back at the combine in Indianapolis, insane speed with vision good enough to run in between the tackles. He does offer some kick return value early in his career. That's an area where I do think that the Eagles need to improve a little bit, and because you have that stable of running backs, you can afford to use Achane there as a kick returner. Didn't test quite as good as expected, but my goodness, did he run fast. Achane's undersized build, understandably, creates doubt about him as an every down NFL back, but his vision and rare acceleration allow him to access run pass most backs can't. With this added value as a receiver and returner, he has high upside potential, similar in ways to Javad Best as a prospect who was highly touted coming out of Cal. We're talking about a player here in Devon Achane who ran a 4.3 40-yard dash. And I like Kenneth Gainwell, like I said. He's not as fast as Devon Achane. And he might be undersized, but because of that speed, because of that burst and that vision, he can run in between the tackles. So I do think that the Eagles, it would be wise for them to address running back here on day 2. Devon Achane, I like the value there as well. For Tank Dell, leading receiver in college football last year, according to our NFL draft expert, Tom Downey. He doesn't like him as much as I do. Number 11 wide receiver, 76th overall player. The Eagles in this instance would get him at 66. I just happen to disagree with Tom Downey. He's a really electric player with good production. You keep waiting for Quez Watkins to pop off. Tank Dell can pop off in this offense as a wide receiver 3. He gets open well and has the quickness to make plays after the catch. Not many successful receivers in the modern NFL at his size, which is, of course, a little bit of a concern. But my goodness, this guy is quick. And if you put him in the slot, he can really win some mismatches and have the matchup advantage against the opposing defense. Here's what the Athletic's Dane Brugler had to say about him. His diminutive size and below average strength won't be a fit for everyone, but he has quick hands and elite start-stop acceleration to create chunk plays short, intermediate, and deep. He projects as a dynamic number 3 or number 4 wide receiver for an NFL offense while also handling some punt return duties. And for Philadelphia, they already have a wide receiver 1 and a 1B in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Tank Dell is a weapon who you can use on bubble screens, jet sweeps, reverses, lining up out of the slot. He can take the top off of the defense and be what we thought Quez Watkins was going to become and be a better player in the process. Now, in case you are familiar with the show Last Chance U, the head coach for Independence Community College a couple of years ago, Jason Brown, is one of my good friends. I hop on his show every single Wednesday, the Coach JB show. He actually recruited Tank Dell to Independence a couple of years ago. I reached out to him, asked him about Tank Dell. He said that he thinks he's going to be a really good pro at the next level, needs to add a little bit of bulk to his frame. That obviously the big concern for him. So, do you want the Eagles to go offense or defense today? You went defense, 2 picks in that first round with Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. O for offense, D for defense. Let me know. Make sure you join us. Round 2, round 3 of the NFL draft. It's going to be a blast. As all these picks come in, we're basically going to be doing a lot what we just did on today's show, breaking all these prospects down. Can't wait to see you.